Thank you for joining me for week 3 of the Time Bubble interview series. I am your host, EJ Borghardt. For those unfamiliar with the show, this is a segment that is going to appear each Saturday on my blog where I will pick a character from this past week's chapter to interview. I'm going to be pulling these characters from a specific part of the story to talk with them about what they are thinking and feeling about what is going on in the story. Don't worry, they won't remember any of this ever happening, so this won't have any effect on the story. They will be returned to the very moment I borrowed them from, so their absence won't be noticed. This week, I asked Martha Garrett from the Rebellion at Aquar to join me to explain more about what her family has been going through. Thank you for joining me today, Martha.
Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Some of you may be a little confused as to why I'm having someone that isn't a major character on as a guest. I feel that by interviewing Martha today, we'll learn more about the atmosphere of the planet and what's going on in the world. Martha, we saw that you and your family were living on the streets after just 1 week of losing your combine. Are things really that bad on the planet that you have already lost your home?
No, but my family is in desperate need of help to bring in our harvest. We started by asking for help from our neighbors, but they were far too busy bringing in their own harvest. I brought the entire family with me into Hope's Landing, knowing that people would have compassion on an entire family of beggars instead of just one woman or man alone.
That is very devious of you.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to take care of my family. I won't apologize for the tactics I used to do that.
I think everyone feels the same way about their families as well. It is quite clear from your reaction from seeing Taryn in the marketplace that you felt that he was responsible for the situation that your family has found itself in.
Can you blame me? After I promised to give my family more time to bring the harvest in, armed men show up to take our combine. What was I supposed to think happened?
I can see where you are coming from. If you were given the opportunity to go back and decide again, would you borrow money from Frederick?
Yes, we would. I would definitely renegotiate the terms of our agreement for when the money was due, but I do not regret working with him.
Could you perhaps explain the details of your agreement with Frederick? I am quite curious why you would have your loan due in the middle of the harvesting season, or why you needed to make the agreement in the first place.
You have to understand how desperate my family was. We were falling behind in our payments for our home, and our combine has been barely managing to bring the harvest in for the past several years. Some would have suggested selling the land and moving on to something else, but that land had been in Alan's family for 3 generations, all the way back to the original colonials on the planet. Frederick offered us enough money to let us get a new combine and make a big enough payment that we wouldn't have to worry about the money collectors coming around until well after we brought the harvest in. It was truly a godsend. We eagerly accepted his terms. The only downside was that Frederick charged interest on the loan weekly. Alan thought he might be able to get the harvest in earlier this year, and we could pay it off in the middle of the week to avoid more interest. Wouldn't you know it, and the weather didn't cooperate to let that happen.
I see. So would you say that Frederick is a necessary part of the community?
Yes, I think you could say that. I can't think of the predicament my family would be in if he hadn't offered us the deal that he did. Now that I think about it, we would probably have been out on the streets sooner.
I have one final question for you. How do you feel about Taryn now that he has gone through all that effort to get your combine back for you?
I misjudged him. I thought he was just another thug who enjoyed bringing false hope to people, much like the senators in the pedestal. He's not, though. He's a young man that is trying to help and bring a light into this world that has been cast into darkness.
That's the feeling that I get from Taryn, too. I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. I hope this interview with Martha has helped you to understand her and the world that she lives in a little more, that you will join us next week for my interview with someone from the world of the Supermorpher. Look for more Time Bubble interviews to come in the future, and if you have a character you would like me to interview from the Supermorpher, leave it in a comment down below. Mrs. Garrett, if you will follow these fine gentlemen, they'll make sure that you get back to your story.
The Time Bubble interviews have been brought to you by and paid for by Godard Labs.